Hello friends and family. So this is quite different from the video I would usually make. For those of you who are active on my YouTube channel, you usually see the edits I continuously make of Harry Potter, anime, and K-pop. This is not one of those edits today, as you have read by the title. This is specifically for my friends and family who are not active on my other social media accounts, so I thought it would be appropriate to share this important decision along with my subscribers on YouTube and my family and friends from Facebook. So as you guys all know, it is May 1st, if that day means anything to you. May 1st is a very important day to high school seniors, as it is the national day where they announce where they are going to college. Now, I have already made this decision public on my Instagram. However, I know there are friends and family on Facebook who do not follow me on Instagram. So I thought it would be appropriate to make a YouTube video and share it that way. So I thought I would just show you guys the process I had and how this decision came to be. The original plan was that I would apply to 10 schools, 7 in-state and 3 out-of-state. Sadly, I was not able to get to those 3 out-of-state schools, as I decided that I would much rather be happy staying in Texas rather than going out of state for my first year on my own. So all the schools I applied to are located in Texas, and I applied to 7 schools. And out of those 7 schools, I was accepted into all 7. Yay! Congratulations! Effects I decided to put in there. So I thought I would share to you the 7 schools I got accepted into. Let's go. The first school I was accepted into was the University of North Texas. The next school I was accepted into was Stephen F. Austin State University. Next school I was accepted into was Texas A&M Commerce University. Go Lions. Roar. Accepted into was the University of Texas at Arlington. Now the next school I was admitted into, we could not find the letter, so I'm just going to post this video right here. Oh yeah. That school was Texas Wesleyan University. The next school I was accepted into was Houston Baptist University. And the last and final school that I was accepted into was Texas Christian University. Whew. That was a lot to go through. So, I'm going to take away these schools one by one until I finally get to the decision that I made for you guys. Or for myself. That's what I should say. The first school that ultimately came off of the list was Texas A&M Commerce University. Now, I decided to apply to this school because their major there that they had was incredible. I was planning to go in there as a visual arts communication major under the emphasis of art direction. Art direction over at their school stated that you could pretty much do anything with art and have a director state put over it. You learn all the basics and fundamentals of different arts, music, theater, drawing, and film. Film was where it's at, and I was like, but art is also where it's at, so I definitely decided to apply to this school. However, when I decided to visit the campus, because this school was maybe a good hour and a half away, 2 hours away, and I wanted to get a look at it, because that's when you ultimately know whether or not something could be the right fit for you. This school's campus wasn't as pretty, I guess, or like as updated as some of the schools I have seen. On the inside of their buildings, it is a very well kept, clean environment. However, it did not feel like the right personal fit for me. I didn't feel like it would be my home there. So in the end, we decided to take it off the list. I was so excited for the opportunity to get to look at the school, because if I hadn't looked at the school, this probably would have been in a choice just because of the major alone. Very important lesson. Check out the schools. Go visit each and every one of them, because it may not feel right when you get there. So Texas A&M Commerce sadly had to go. The next school that came off the list was UTA. I'm not gonna lie, I love this school. This is a very, very well kept school. Certainly a very big community, a very big loving community. And they had a great program for me, and they had an amazing foreign languages department. And had a lot of successful alumni. However, the biggest problem to me with this school, it was way too big, and it is growing. It was continuously growing, and knowing me, I knew I wanted to have a close relationship with my professors and teachers, and going to a big school like UTA would not have gotten me there as I had wanted. I want to have close personal connections with the teachers, and UTA probably has a max of over 100 kids in a class, maybe 6. I just could tell by looking at the school, going to different seminars for the school, they had a lot of, there was a big gap between the teacher and student ratio, and I knew that it just wouldn't be for me. This was a great school, however, it is way too big for me. Thank you, UTA, for giving me this opportunity to attend your school. The next school that came off my list was Stephen F. Austin State University. Now, there was nothing really super bad to say about this school when I first visited. In fact, when I visited it, I loved it. My grandma and I loved it. Pop-Pop loved it. It was amazing. They made me feel very welcomed at their school. They had very great programs that I was interested in going into both my major and my minor. They specifically had the filmmaking major I was looking for and a bunch of other minors to accommodate that with. They had a special program for the hard of hearing, and they also had a very special theater program as well. Pretty much a lot of the stuff that I have passions for. Only problem with this school was that it did not have enough credentials or alumni to prove the success rate of Stephen F. Austin State University. When looking up, we tried to figure out what of the students from the school moved on to. There's not a lot to go off of. And one of the things I knew for sure when looking into my schools was, do you have the credentials to make sure I am successful in the future? This school did not live up to the expectations that I thought it would. However, it was definitely the most beautiful campus I had seen, and sadly it is 4 hours away, so visiting people that I love and know would be very hard to do if I went to this school. So it came off the list. I have 4 schools left. Which one came off the list next? Sadly, that was Houston Baptist University. Now, once again, a freaking beautiful campus. It was very well kept. This school I applied specifically for the cinematic arts major. And this major specifically had things I wanted to do. Directing and producing, screenwriting. It specifically emphasized on this as opposed to other stuff. But it still gave you the basic foundation of whatever it is you wanted to go into. One of the other things I really liked about Houston Baptist University is how regularly they practice their faith and spirituality. That is something I would very much love to do. However, this school once again did not have perfect credentials in what they had coming for. They didn't have the best graduate rate either, and it's also a pretty freaking expensive school despite the money I received from them. It was still a very expensive school. So we decided just to say no because of credentials. Oh, the 3 schools that I knew I had to give attention to first were Texas Wesleyan University, TCU, and UNT. I decided to label these as my top 3 schools because of they all had aspects that I desperately wanted, and they were all incredibly credential, and they all gave you the the opportunity to exercise your faith. They were all in relatively good distance from my house to where I could either live on the campus or I could commute from home. And they all showed what I pretty much wanted to do in school. So this was when I knew it was time to get down pretty much to the nitty-gritty of everything. And whew, this was one of the hardest decisions I had to make forever and a long time. Deciding between these three schools was really hard. However, in the end, I decided to eliminate the next school I decided to eliminate was Texas Wesleyan University. Fun fact, actually, for this school, I really wanted to apply to this school because of the distance and because it was so well known and it was easily affordable for, I'm glad I was able to get that taken care of. My camera decided to say goodbye because the battery died, so I had to charge it. Here we are 30 minutes later. Anyway, as I was saying, fun fact with Texas Wesleyan University, I really wanted to apply to the school because of so many other factors. However, I applied to Texas Wesleyan as a musical theater major. I applied as a musical theater major specifically because I did not see any film-specific thing or like film-specific major at the school, which was a bummer. However, in the end, I did audition for the musical theater program and I got in along with a scholarship. The only problem is, once again, when we decided to go back to the school to get a closer look at stuff, we also, went to the College of Fine Arts where my major would be, and that's also where professional communications was, which was in its own essentially a film or media related major. However, they did not focus on any of the components of film aspects that I was interested in. So sadly, in the end, my grandparents and I decided to say goodbye to Texas Wesleyan. As good of a school as it was, it just did not have my major, but it was definitely worth a try to try out as a musical theater major. That's for sure. To the final battle. The one crazy battle. TCU, UNT. Two schools, similar yet different. And by similar, I mean they were so freaking similar. And I honestly, I didn't know what to do to choose. I did not know what to do between these two schools. It was so hard to choose because I loved both of these schools so much. And funny thing is, I didn't even think I would get into TCU because they have a low acceptance rate and it's TCU and my test scores didn't exactly add up. So, I mean, it's like, this was just a surprise. And then UNT was my first overall pick for the school, and I thought, I don't know, there was so many things going into this process, so choosing one of these schools was hard. So when I realized how similar both schools were, I decided to dig in a little deeper into what exactly was going on. So let me talk about UNT first. Once again, first school I applied to and first school I was admitted to. I was admitted in the early summer of 2019. So right before my senior year started. I applied as a media arts major, as you know. The school, I pretty much did all the events at UNT, and we got to know all the information. We got to know some amazing people who worked for UNT. Became extremely close to them, so much so that I was able to get scholarship on top of scholarship from this school, to the point where they were paying for everything pretty much in a way. So Very, very difficult decision. Not only that, they had seriously credible alumni who went on to work in major productions and major companies all around the world. They had a very credited program, and in fact, one of the people in my major was able to win a national film contest and earn $100,000 to produce her next film. So I knew that this was a freaking incredible institution. And next, TCU. Like I said, we had no idea that I would be accepted into the school. And I received my admissions decision on National Honors, the National Honor Society induction. I'm an officer for NHS, and it was after the ceremony. We were all sitting in the cafeteria, and I just randomly pulled out my phone and emails, and I saw that there was an admission decision. I was like, I'm looking at this now because I was waiting for frickin' ever for it, because it was also one of the earlier schools I applied to, and it was the last one to come. So it was very, very hard to wait for this decision and the letter to come. The letter came around Christmas because I applied for early decision. Good choice that I made on my part. Anyway, at first I wasn't so sure if I had wanted to go to TCU because, well, I don't know. There were a lot of things. I don't know why at one point I didn't think about TCU. At one point it wasn't even on my list. However, we decided to go through with it because this school was close in distance to the house, and it had an amazing line of alumni, and my program was fantastic. And everything about the school had aspects that I liked, just like UNT. So I had to get down to the nitty-gritty of it all. UNT, while being a very, very good school and amazing credentials, it was big. It was getting bigger by the minute, as half of my school was going to be attending UNT. And it was about an hour away from home. So this would mean that visiting would not likely happen super often. TCU, while it is in fact very, 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 very close to home, it was the most expensive school out of the bunch. And I would end up having to pay a fortune to go to TCU, whereas UNT probably only have to pay about $5,000 to go. So, all in all, UNT and TCU, hardest decision that I've ever had to make in my life. But after careful consideration and thought processing, I finally made up my mind. decision to attend Texas Christian University in the fall of 2020. One of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life, but in the end I knew TCU would be the right school for me, as it will help me further my education and only help me be successful in life. I will be continuing my education as a film, television, and digital media major at TCU. I know that this was the right school for me, probably from the beginning. I just probably never knew. And I am so glad to be a Horned Frog. I am so glad that this hard decision process was over. It is quite the most thrilling experience, yet the most terrifying of your life, because you don't know what will happen to you. But I knew I made the right choice for myself, and I hope that all my friends and family will continue to support my decision and help me further my education as I enter TCU as a Horned Frog. Refram Bazoo! Soon I'll be at TCU.